not working.
Oh, awesome. How do you know it's not working?
Now it's working.
Ah. Hello.
The mic said it wasn't working.
Ah.
But it's probably because we've been recording inside and we're back outside again today. Well, metaphorically speaking, anyway.
Well, it's not metaphorically speaking.
Well, you know what I mean.
We're out of the house, but still under a roof. Is that what you're trying to say? Right. Okay.
All right.
It's Wednesday. We're live. I promise.
It's something like that, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's everything set up now. We'll see how that goes.
Awesome.
You're very high up on there.
Yes. I thought me being high would be good given the height of the camera. It's not my fault that chair seems to be broken.
Yeah, I will admit the camera's probably too high.
I did mention that.
Yeah, it's too late now.
So, it's Wednesday. What are we talking about?
Well, it's been an interesting week. And first things first, I'm very excited.
Are you?
Yeah.
So it's nice to have some sort of excitement. Oh, damn it.
Because this showed up today.
I'm listening, but also I'm sort of not. When is Iron Man?
20
That's fine.
something of March.
Okay. Was there a moment where it was going to be the... Oh, yeah, 27th.
Yes.
Was there a moment where it was going to be the 13th? Why have I got the 13th of March in my head?
I've no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, this showed up today.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard us talk about this, I think we did on the podcast. Basically, we had our preview copy today.
Mm-hmm.
It was released not this... I think it was over a week ago now.
Okay.
However, the reason we're only getting it now is because of a warehouse error. It wasn't just us. There's a whole bunch of people who get it. They've gotten it late. But it's here, and I'm very excited. I've only been able to have a quick flick through it. What I found really interesting is, and I'm only going to bring this up now, and it doesn't mean anything to you.
It might.
There's a unit here called the Deathwing Strike Master. He had points before he had a data sheet.
Oh, yeah.
So now we know what he is. There's nothing new there. Like, he's a plastic kit that's built from the Deathwing Terminator box. But we know what he does, at least, so that's nice. One thing I have noticed that's missing so far is the Deathwing Standard Bearer. But I'm assuming that's because he doesn't come in the box, whereas he used to be an option. And I've got a model converted to have the banner, who will now just be a dude.
Okay.
Which is a bit of a shame. But other than that, there's nothing... I mean, I'm sure anyone who plays Dark Angels...
Oh, that's probably it, Aaron. It was going to be the 13th of Feb. I knew the 13th was in there for a reason.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone who plays Dark Angels or has a chance to see this will already kind of know what they're dealing with. The biggest one, which everyone's been talking about, is... What's it actually called in here? Inner Circle, which was put in with the beta rules, or the transition into sort of intermediary rules before this book came out. And it's just stayed, so anytime an attack made against this unit, if this unit has the infantry keyword, an unmodified wound roll of 1, 2, or 3 always fails, irrespective of any abilities of the weapon or the model making the attack may have. Which is really good. So, I mean, we were already seeing Dark Angels used at tournaments. I'm assuming we'll see more of them because there's a really good combination with the Ravenwing in here as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing... I only just noticed this. The corpse on the front is a Death Guard. The Codex just before this was Death Guard. So I'm looking forward to going through that. Speaking of Death Guard, though, I'm going to go up there now. Our son has been working on his review of Codex Death Guard, so that should be available shortly. And I'm already starting to see lists for First Blood, including the Death Guard and a few of the other factions that have gotten new books, which is exciting.
Interesting.
So yeah, we move straight to First Blood now, with obviously all the lockdowns removed, and assuming, touch wood, nothing else happens. I think we've got 76 or 78 in for First Blood at the moment.
Yeah, but they haven't all paid.
No, they have all paid.
Oh.
What's in Down Under Pairings now is accurate.
Right, okay, awesome.
So it's going to be a big weekend.
Fab. What's the biggest First Blood we've ever done?
90
Yeah, I thought it was
something.
96.
90 something.
So we're not even close to that.
A whole bunch of new faces returning.
New faces returning?
Yes, I'm going to clarify that. You just didn't let me finish. I got an email today from one of the guys going, I haven't played a tournament since 5th. And he's not the first that sent me that sort of message. So it'll be interesting to see some old faces coming back into the tournament circuit, which is great. A whole bunch of new armies. If you didn't see already, we also put an extra prize in for people who are going to come along with new faction. First-time tournament attendees get entered into the draw, and anyone who brings a new force for the event.
Specifically done for the event.
That's been painted and prepared for this event.
I think there's been a little bit of confusion about that. Sometimes that happens. Most events that happens.
But that's also because we kind of had it suggested to us on the fly, and we kind of dropped it in there after the fact.
Did you put it in the players pack?
No, because it was dropped in.
Perhaps you should pop it in the players pack with a little bit of an explanation.
I did consider doing that, but at the same time, I've had another player email me today saying, hey, I've got this army list, I just want to make sure it's okay for First Blood. What do you think? And I've gone, you can't have a super auxiliary detachment that takes up half your points. That's in the players pack. Oh, where's the players pack? Here's the players pack. And you know what? I mean, we don't put things like best dressed for masters in there. We just kind of give those out. And it'll just be something that,
the reason
as
that
we're
I'm
scoring...
suggesting that it gets put in there is because there's been confusion with people thinking you have to bring a new force for First Blood. And that's obviously not the case.
No.
So if you've been running the same army for the last 5 years and you want to bring that same army, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing stopping you doing that. You know, perhaps it's a good challenge if you can pull together an army in the next 3 weeks.
I was going to say it's only a couple of weeks away now, so that makes it a bit tricky.
Actually, only be 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's only 1,000 points.
You just reminded me I've got to go and buy the rest of the boards this weekend.
I thought you were doing that a couple of days ago.
Well, it was going to be done this week, but this week's been a bit busy. So it'll be done on the weekend.
Okay.
And then straight after that, we've got... so we're on the 7th. I think it's the 20th is the Age of Sigmar team event. And the 27th sees us with...
That's the...
Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then... like 2 weeks later, we hit Linebreaker. Tickets for that will go up on the weekend because I've now had confirmation from the venue around some of the oddities of it. The price has gone up slightly for the venue.
What are the oddities?
Because of like when I went to confirm it, all the lockdown happened and they wouldn't let me confirm it, and so we're kind of past all that now.
Right, I thought you meant that there were odd stipulations in place.
No. I'm also going to release tickets first to the Albany. I'm going to sort of earmark a percentage for Albany straight away to make sure that they get spots.
Well, do you think Albany players want to come?
I'd love the idea of turning up and going, yeah, we're playing a tournament in your town, but
You
none
can
of you are coming.
all come and watch.
So, those tickets will all go up this weekend with a percentage reserved for... I think we can get 28 in the hall, I think is normally the number we work on.
I think we've done 30.
Well, I went back, because obviously Down Under Pairings only goes back so far.
Yeah, I think the first year we might have had 30, and then we ended up with...
Because 2019, 2020, sorry. 2020 we had 24.
Oh, that was a little group.
So, but I vaguely remember us being able to go 7x2 for the tables. So, 28 will be the absolute limit for that, just because the venue's not big enough.
So getting quick?
Yes. Those tickets will... It's going to be a bit of a tricky one on how... I'm not really sure how to handle that, because obviously I want to make sure everyone gets plenty of time, but I also don't want to end up in a situation where a group of 4 friends go, yeah, we're going to do it, and then they buy 3 tickets whilst another group's buying tickets, and then someone misses out. I'm not quite sure how to handle that.
Yeah, we'll sort it out.
I'm definitely going to publish exactly when those tickets are going to go live, so that you know... Like, I'll set them to go live at like 7 o'clock on an evening, so that... And publish it and, sort of go, well, here it is.
It has been
It is a popular event.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. And then straight after that, into May, we hit War Calls. But before that, the WA ATC team have announced their own team event sneaking in there. Which I've managed to end up in one of those teams playing.
Oh, have you?
Yep.
How did that happen, darling?
Completely just accidentally.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So
Funny how things like that happen for you.
yeah, it's, it's just one of those random things, and you just kind of, okay, well, I'm playing then. So
Did you share a link for this on Facebook?
yes.
Okay, fab. I've just got someone message me saying I can't see you live on Facebook. That's because we're on YouTube, but there should be a link on Facebook.
I'm just going to make sure it actually published. I'm assuming it did. Yeah, it did.
Okay. Probably because it just blends in. Maybe we need a thing that says, "We are live."
Yeah, we need a different... Well, it's defaulting to our logo from YouTube as the standard background image.
Yeah, you can change that. I don't know how.
Oh, no, I know how, because I set that.
Oh,
So,
right, fair enough.
but that's because it generates... it uses that as the thumbnail after the fact, when it uploads the file tomorrow.
Okay.
So... welcome to the Sixers, Mike. The team name is Just Roll Sixers.
All right.
So, what's going to be interesting is I'm not playing Harlequins. Ta-da! Dum bum bum. Because I've said I don't want to. So I'm not.
Sorry, I just have to quickly reply to this message.
More work stuff.
Yep.
You have to give Emma some credit today. She's spent the entire day in front of a laptop, like 14 hours worth to prepare a report that they asked her for yesterday for tomorrow. So she's been working very hard today.
It's been a very... I wasn't doing it alone. There were 3 of us, but yes, I worked 14 hours solid. Had a shower, and then I've jumped on here. So, and apparently I'm drinking heavily and quickly.
Richard's just said the stream is still saying the 3rd of Feb, so I'm just going to update that.
See?
Thought I'd gotten all of that, but we haven't... it's been a couple of weeks since we've done this, and I've recorded a couple of other things in between now and then, so you get used to certain settings and walk away. George joining us.
Hello!
I came to boo. Pizza Guardia.
Oh.
This is the one downside with doing it on YouTube is I'm trying now to remember usernames with real names, and there are Aaron and Richard have changed their names over,
And I appreciate
so that we know who they are.
Thank you. Mine does show up as Mad Camel Belly Dance still, so we're all good.
Aaron Thompson, imagine deciding what faction you're playing before you even got assigned a coach. I don't think you quite understand how this is going to work for me, Aaron. No.
I don't think that's quite in the spirit of it. Let's move forward, shall we?
No, one of the other teammates wants to play Harlequins. He's been building and painting a Harlequin army. So I've said, that's fine, I don't want to play Harlequins. You can play Harlequins, so he's going to do that. And with the Drakari book likely imminent, that seems like a really good time to get this big green case out with all my painted Drakari and have a go with that. Minimise the painting, although behind the camera, as I've been cleaning up so that we can actually sit here properly today, there is a very big pile of sprues and bits and pieces as I've been trying to figure out.
I'm sure they've been here for oh so long and there's nothing new, is
There is literally nothing new here. The new boxes don't arrive until next week. So...
Sorry, I'm just gonna... You keep going.
Richard says, imagine Mike being coached. Hilarious.
We are moving forward.
Oh dear. Look, I think the idea of the coaches is a great opportunity for both the teams and the coaches. I think as long as the players on the teams are willing to work with the coach, and as long as the coach is willing to understand that players, like there'll be players on these teams who can't afford physically, money-wise, to change their armies. There'll be players on the teams who only play one army. And I think that the coaches then have to try and show that they can get the most out of those players and those lists in a limited scenario. And by the same token, I'm hoping that while the coaches rise to that challenge, I would also hope that the players are willing to engage those coaches, take on board that feedback and go, well, I was actually thinking about buying whatever it was. how does that fit into this? What do you think? And kind of have a reciprocal conversation rather than one trying to bully the other. I'd hope that there's that sort of cyclic nature. But the advantage I have of playing Drukhari is I already own it all, so it's not so big a deal for me. Just use the WTC coaching system. That works out pretty neat. No, this is less about coaching on the day, although I'm sure that will happen. This is more about the
lead up to.
Yeah, so this is about giving the ATC team an opportunity to experience the process without the stress of playing, as strange as that sounds.
Well, no, I also think that you learn a lot when you teach. And so, depending on your ability to be self-reflective, you learn where your strengths are and you learn where your weaknesses are. And if you're able to be self-reflective, then there's a really good opportunity as a coach to be able to find some gaps and fill those gaps. And there's also a really good opportunity for players to take advantage of the opportunity and to be able to upskill and increase their capacity for, so they can then put skills to use for events like WATC.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not people will do that or whether or not they'll be strong, stubborn-headed mules and do whatever they want to do because that's what he's intending to do.
Not my fault someone else has already taken the faction.
Not mentioning any names
Can't help
or
it.
looking at anyone directly.
I do have a Deathwing army down here that needs painting. So, there are options.
When is the event?
April.
Yeah. I can't see you painting an army by then.
Oh, ye of little faith. Does that mean I can buy an army?
No. It doesn't.
Just a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's already ordered, it's too late.
I think
I'm just kidding.
You are so not just kidding.
I haven't ordered all of it yet. I've only ordered a little bit of it. Just to test out the conversions.
Okay, well, I think you should not buy things because I think that there are how many things on Sprue in front of us.
Well, to be fair...
Not
all of that's, complete. A lot of it's sprue from models left over. All those Harlequin sprues there and there and there aren't complete. Anyway. This is the hard-hitting stuff you come here for, to be fair. Look, the team events... So we'll have that one in April. We're going to host our mini team event in July as a sort of a lead-up to WATC, which is happening in September. So, much like... so we floated the idea of a one-day, 8-team format. Mitch and the guys have snuck in before us in April, but to be fair, we'd already kind of planned out our calendar, so fair enough. And, we'll run not exactly the same format that they're running, but a similar format to what they're running. One day, 3 games, 8 teams. How big those teams are is up for conversation.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely warrants having a conversation between us around the pros and cons of the different system that we're planning on doing. I don't think today's the day to do it.
No, I'm just, the reason I put that spreadsheet together was to kind of gauge some interest on doing that sort of draft format. We maxed that out. We got 80 people on that list. So,
yes, but we didn't have a day and we didn't have...
No, exactly.
It's all well and good to say, yeah, I'm interested in coming along, but will people actually... Are they available and will they actually buy a ticket when it comes to the crunch?
I think that...
Speaking of which, I'm running an International Women's Day event on the 8th of May. If anybody wants to celebrate International Women's Day...
Are you shitting me?
It's the 8th of March, actually. It's the 8th of March.
I hope you're kidding on that as well.
Why?
Is that First Blood?
No, because it's a Monday.
Okay, well that's good then. You're going to have a very long friggin' weekend, aren't you?
I am, because I'm also photographing that day as well.
Jesus Christ.
So yes, I've got a very long weekend. But anyway, 8th of March. Everybody happens to, want to celebrate International Women's Day.
Might be worth seeing how the 5-man team format runs, and the ATC one sold out in 2 hours for 40 players. Look, to be fair, when we announced WATC last time, I think we sold 16 team tickets in a couple of hours.
I don't even think it was a couple of hours. I think we might have sold that in the first. Yeah, it was certainly a very short amount of time.
Well, I've got the venue now booked all the way through. All the dates that are in Facebook are accurate. Mm-hmm. All of the events that are in Down Under Pairings match that. but there are no tickets past May at the moment. When I put the line breaker ones up, I'll schedule the other ones to go up sort of at specific times to give people lead in. It's probably 3 months lead in. But the walk-alls one's already available.
Okay, questions. Hit us with some questions.
Well, I'm going to talk about the...
I just got a message from one of the women I work with who said 17 tickets booked just now. So someone's just booked 17 tickets. So maybe it was someone who's listening.
I never know. So we got this. I got this sent to me by Aaron, who's in the chat right now. The Tactical Tortoise video. It's an interesting video because I'm not going to go through my list here. I'm going to address one of the points on here, which it needs... Are
you going to record this as a video
I
tomorrow?
am, which is why I'm not going to raise all of the other bits and pieces that go with it. He came on and said, here are 8 rules that everyone plays wrong.
Yeah, now, in fairness, that's clickbait 101.
It is. He normally... Like, it's good content. He's professional. The video that he has uses Tabletop Simulator rather than models on the table. I get why he does that, because you don't need to set anything up. You can do it on your computer, and you kind of don't need to move. I'll do it with models and actual terrain and stuff, because I feel like it's a bit more tangible. It's something that you... Like, if I pull out the terrain from Wayland Yutani or from Amazing Forge or any of those, it's terrain that you could then buy and use yourself, rather than a digital image of something that's been made up for Tabletop Sim. The biggest one, and the one that was highlighted to me, was his point 2, which was around wobbly model syndrome. And it's page 199 of the main rulebook. The paragraph in question isn't in the GT handbook, which part of me wants to...
And we did actually flag this when we first read the GT handbook.
Yeah, it's actually...
We flagged the fact that there were certain sections missing from... Which obviously, I mean, look at the size difference. Well, but also look at the size difference between the two.
Well, there is that, yeah.
So, you know, and I know that when we first got the GT handbook, we were looking at it going, well, there are significant and important parts missing from it. This is one of the things that's missing. Yeah,
so basically Wobbly Model turns around and says that in his video, he describes how you can just put a blank base in place of a model. If the model can't physically fit there, that's okay. That's actually not.
No.
The book specifically says a model has to physically fit.
Yes, it does say that the model has to physically fit. However, if the model is going to be unsafe where it's balanced, then you can place something else there as a placeholder. Yep. However, I believe, and it's been a long time since I read it, I believe it says something along the lines of, if it comes to a shooting phase or something, you have to place your model back to see where line of sight would be.
Yep.
So that's not bad, given I think it was July last time I read that.
Yep.
So yeah, the rule book, like the full rule book, certainly goes in and explains that your model has to fit.
Yeah, your wobbly model is no longer a catch-all phrase for, I want my model to be there, but I just can't be bothered putting it there, or it doesn't really fit.
And at the same time, it does actually have to be able to be there. Like, you can't
finish halfway up a wall.
Yeah, or you can't balance it on something that actually...
Which actually neatly ties into Dan's question. Can we move models through the table on the floor? And Aaron, can models levitate in a terrain feature? No, the rules say no to both. So Ben's comment, which I clarified in our Obset Gamers group, I answered the same thing. That's both actually covered in the rules.
Yeah, no, it does, and it does specifically say in the rule book that it has to finish on.
It has to be a place that it can finish. It can't be something that you blue tack to the side. I've actually seen someone try that to get a model.
Not in any of our events.
Not in our events.
I don't know that it's happened in 9th Ed either.
No, not in 9th. This is in a past edition where they've gotten blue tack and literally stuck a model to the side of a building because he's 3 inches climbed up the wall.
And I think, depending on what kind of model you're using, but I'm not sure many of the models in many of the armies can actually levitate.
No.
But maybe if you've got a model that does have levitation ability, you might have some argument for it.
No, you don't. Dan says the aircraft one was a big surprise. I think the aircraft one, and like Emma said, we'll cover this in the actual video, because we're going to do a video supplement to their video. Not a response video, but like a a kind of a, hey, this is our understanding of it video. It's only come up because the Archaeocopter for the AdMech can turn mid-move. So it's the only flyer that has a minimum move that also can do that. And so normally with a flyer, you turn the model, its minimum move is 20 inches. So you measure from the front of the base to the front of the base, you move 20 inches. It's actually got to be front to back, essentially, because the minimum, and this is something I didn't realise until I read it, the minimum move
includes the base.
Has all parts of the base have to do the minimum move. Oh no, so you won't have to. No, you won't have to go front to back. No,
back of the base
you measure it like a normal model.
Yeah.
But with an Archaeocopter, you can move 10 inches, turn, move 10 inches. Your minimum move is 20, but you actually haven't moved 20 inches by the triangle.
I got distracted.
Okay. So
I was just making sure that, yes, that did work.
Yeah. I just did the same thing. So with a right angle, obviously you move 10 inches that way, turn 90 degrees and move 10 inches that way. You're not 20 inches away from where you started.
No, you're not.
So the rules say you have to be your displacement for aircraft. Your minimum move is essentially a displacement number. It's not a distance you've travelled number. It's you have to be at least 20 inches away from where you started.
I don't know what it would be.
That.
We'll work it out.
The right angle, it's probably about 14.5 inches.
I'm sure you're right.
Something
but
like that.
I'm still going to check it.
Dan Eldar, no, they can turn at the end of the move. They can't turn mid-move. So it's literally the Archaeocopter is what brings this up. Or that's the only example I can come up with that can turn mid-turn.
Does anyone know what the square root of 2,000 is?
What are you doing?
Trying to work out what the hypotenuse of that is. You're working out what the square root of 2,000 is.
I'm going to go to...
Oh, that's not fair.
Here you go. 14.4. 14.14. I said 14.5. I'm not bad off my head for maths. For the reference at home, I just Googled right angle triangle calculator and plugged the numbers in. It's really good.
I'm sure it would be any calculator, to be fair. Any triangle calculator.
This even lets it auto defaults to right angle. Anyway. 140-ish. So yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's only the Archaeocopter that actually generates this as an issue, because every other plane, you turn and you move 20 inches. So, James Wilson says Pythagoras. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, but I couldn't work out what the square root of C squared was.
Which is why I went to Google.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting one for him to bring up in the video, and he's even got an example of it live from the LV No Open, where two guys are playing. One of the guys moves an Archaeocopter like that, and his opponent goes, "Nah, I'm calling the judge. You haven't moved far enough." And what's interesting about that is obviously it's a bunch of very high-profile players who made that mistake.
Yeah.
So while it's good to have that highlighted, I also don't know it's a mistake that's common, because it's not a model that you're going to see commonly. Like AdMech players will have them and use them, but other than that, it doesn't really... It's something worth knowing when you go to a tournament with AdMech in the mix, but other than that, it's not something that the average player is going to have to deal with on a game-to-game basis. There are a few little foibles in there, and most of the stuff he says is correct, but I don't like the way he's written the examples to show you how some of it, how he's explained the examples, because I found it really hard to follow. So, a great one is he talks about the targeting rules for shooting, which is 100% right. You have to have range and line of sight to an enemy model. You can't, and in the past editions, you could have range to one thing and line of sight to another. So you could have a unit behind a wall, one model sticking out that's out of range.
Yeah.
I can see him, he's in range, even though I can't see him, I can shoot.
Yeah.
Now you need both.
Yeah. Which
makes sense. In the psychic phase, in his video, he claims that you can split those two apart. Now he's right, you kind of can for Smite, but he says that's the way all psychic powers work, when that's actually not true. The psychic phase doesn't have targeting rules in it. because each power is resolved by its own unique set of rules. So when he's referencing Smite, he's basically correct, but the way he words it is all psychic powers do this, and that's not actually what the book says.
Sure.
So there's lots of that sort of stuff, and it's... Normally you'd go, oh, whatever, like, it's fine, but the video's gotten a lot of traction online. Obviously, Aaron sent me this message asking about it, which made me go and watch the video in the first place. And if that's happened, I'm sure other people in our community have watched it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth going through with all the page references, because that's the other thing. He doesn't reference page numbers, which made it... I had to sit there for about 2 hours this morning watching the video and doubling back, looking for all the references. So that we can actually put it all together and go, okay, cool. This is what they said. This is the bit that it feels like it's not quite explained as well as it should have been. So that's my job for tomorrow. But in answer to your question, Dan, no, you can't go through the table onto the floor, and Aaron, no, you can't levitate in a terrain feature.
Shame.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't read any of those. Does anybody say anything?
No, I took your glasses in inside as well today while I was cleaning up in here.
Keep leaving glasses places and then have none.
Look, you've got space for your legs. What else are you going to play on that?
It's still quite uncomfy. I need a...
You need a box or something, do you? Do I need to buy another carry case?
No, I think we might need better chairs.
Yeah,
they're
look.
not very comfortable.
No, they're not very
that
comfortable.
one doesn't go up and down anymore.
No.
This one, my legs are just dangly.
Yeah. It is what it is for today.
It is. All right, I'm going in.
I like that comment from Imperial Numenistics. Sounds like the video was pretty effective. It sounds like people are working out the rules that they often played wrong.
It's certainly got people talking about those rules.
Yeah.
So I think, I agree with you. It is quite effective.
One of the best ones, and I really, really liked the explanation he did for this, was who can fight in combat.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually highlights some really cool little tactics that I think the average player might not pick up on when you first read through the combat phase. And the way he explains who can fight and why you... Like, a lot of people assume that when you get charged, you're always going to get to fight back. But there are actually instances where you can charge something and then not get to fight because other parts of the combat happen and the resolution means you don't end up within 1 inch, so you're going to fight. And I think that showing those things that can happen is instantly... You can have players go, oh, I never thought of that. Which in turn means that there are going to be players who now, at the table, will have that in the back of their head going... I don't have to charge in like this. If I charge in like this, and then fight, and then use my consolidate move, I get to fight them, and then they get to fight me back. And those sorts of things could trigger some really great conversations and increase the skill level of players, because the assault phase is one that trips a lot of players up. And not just because of the way charges are resolved and the way that combats are done and all the rest of it. There are a lot of these little intricate nickety things that... Nickety's a word I'm using. Just move with it, it's fine.
I'm not 100% sure it's actually a word.
It is
okay.
right now.
Cool, let's go with it. We can do that.
That when you understand for the fight phase in depth, you can start doing things that your opponent will go, well, that's not fair. How does that work? When it's just a better understanding of how the rules work. So I really like that section is in the video because it does very clearly explain some stuff and then shows you some examples of what can happen. So I really like that. Definitely worth checking that bit of the video out.
Excuse me. Sorry, I think I'm reaching my limit.
Well, it's reasonably late.
It's not, but I did start.
You did start early. Well, you've been up 15 hours or something now.
And worked for all of
14,
them.
yeah. I know, you had a shower and you got dressed and I fed you at one point there.
I got dressed twice. And I ate once.
I fed you twice.
I drank a smoothie. That doesn't count.
It's breakfast, it counts. So yeah, it's definitely worth going and watching the video, and we'll link it in our video to kind of go through it and show some of the bits and pieces because there's some really good information in there. There's question 8 that he poses is one that we got asked, or the one that I got asked, sorry, probably 24 times at Masters.
Is that all?
Around actions and if I'm in combat, can I complete an action? Yeah, you can. It's in the rulebook. It even says you can. And what's even funnier is that the situations that we had at Masters around, I'm within 1 inch. Can I pile in, fight, and then consolidate and still complete my action? Yes, you can. Oh. And a lot of players
What was very interesting was that some people didn't realise that till game 5.
Yes. What was also really funny about that was someone said to me, "That makes no sense. Why can I shoot? But why can't I shoot and complete the action, but I can fight and complete the action? That makes no sense." I said, "Have you ever seen an action movie where the band of misfits goes in to defuse the bomb, and he's sat there defusing the bomb, and then they get rushed by the enemy, and he's still stood in the middle defusing the bomb, and everyone else is around fighting and defending him?" That's kind of what I'm envisaging in that scenario. But they're not actively going and hunting targets because they want to be quiet so they can finish the action without anyone coming and getting them. So, I may have watched too much Expendables in like recent months, but that's my thought process as to how that might work. So yeah, here we are. What else have we got to cover?
I've literally got no idea.
No, it's been it's been really weird because we obviously released a podcast late, and then the day after did a live, and then we've recorded another podcast since then. Like it's been out of sync because we also had an extra week with the kids home, and it's been a bit out of pattern. I'm looking forward to recording a Bot Wars game over the weekend. All those models are painted and ready. I found some trees and some terrain to go on the board that's where the camera is at the moment. So we're going to be recording that on the weekend with my son while you're out at your function. And that'll go up on the YouTube channel hopefully early next week. We might even try and do it live on the weekend, actually. That way it goes up straight away.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
When our first blood list's due, and any interesting
Aaron,
list ideas...
can you think of a place where that might be written?
There are 2 places where it's written, Aaron, to be fair. Both of which you can get from Down Under Pairings.
Is one of them Down Under Pairings?
One of them is Down Under Pairings. Like it literally, if you go to the event, it says 1 week, 5 days, 2 hours and 41 minutes. And it counts down for you.
So what's that, the Wednesday before? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Monday before, that must be. No. I don't know now. I wonder what I put in the software.
Yeah.
But you can also hit the tournament pack and get the players pack from
We'll
there.
have a look, because that'll give us a date and a day.
Oh, I'm not going to press the link. I've got it saved.
Would have been faster to press the link.
No, it wouldn't, because that'll take us to the ticket page. You don't know how I set it up.
It's not my fault, you did it wrong.
I didn't do it wrong. Monday the 1st of March, 11:59 p.m. As for lists, at the moment...
Oh, let's pick a random one and explain it all. We'll tell you how to beat it.
I've only got 4 submitted at the moment.
That's okay. We
Well,
can tell people
Dan's
how to
in the
beat.
chat, so
Yeah,
we can
Dan,
open Dan's
exactly.
list. Let's see what Dan's actually doing. Is it interesting, Dan?
Dan's playing Orcs.
I hope you've got the right points value for that unit there, Dan. Or I'd be probably double checking, make sure you got the right points value for one of these units here, Dan. Look, it's an interesting list because it's not a faction you see a great deal of, so I appreciate that. Simon Taylor had a Necron army. I'm going to sell my Necron army. I've had enough pain in this Necron army. Sold his Necron army. I'm going to buy a new army. Guess what he bought? Necrons! They look really good, though. Like, as a hobby event, that is going to be a stunning army. Really impressed with what I've seen of it so far. And look, he's showing off... he's only got
20,000 points.
Yeah. But there's only 4 types of units in it. Which will obviously make it look really cohesive on the table as well, which is a plus. We've got someone playing on hard mode.
Oh.
Okay. yeah, I can get behind this. This is actually a really themed army, and it's even harder hard mode, to be fair. So well done to Jared Nicholson for that. I'm big props for... That's a ballsy move. Matt Crosby as well with a list in. I don't know if he's in the chat, but let's have a quick look. Oh, Jesus Christ. Matt, what are you doing to me?
I'm sure this is riveting viewing.
Look, he's... oh, you know what? It's not so bad. There is one part of it that I was ready to go, no, that's a resubmit. And then I looked at the rest of the list and went, oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, George, Bot Wars. Unfortunately, the only reason it's taken this long is Lachlan was painting them all in preparation for the game, and then one of the dog's tails knocked one of the resin models off of the table that he was working on, and the model went flying and the head went flying further, and we've never found the head. So I got in touch with Anthony and said, hey, what do I do here? Worked with him, and we've now got that model repaired and sorted.
Aaron's trying to pass it off that he was asking on behalf of someone else.
His list's not in, so... yeah, so the list, we've still got a little while yet. I know there's at least one player hoping that Drakari come out in that time, but the only way that would work is if they were released this weekend. Because they'd have to pre-order this weekend and release the following weekend, because the codex has to be out at the time of list submission for them to work.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen.
It's not looking likely, is it?
No. We don't have a date for it, but...
I can pick one.
Like you did with Orcs.
Yeah. Although I'm quite disappointed because as... who was it that pointed out that clearly it's going to be in October, and I've just picked...
October.
October. What did I say?
October.
I like that.
Good job.
But foul. Anyway.
Good job.
Yeah. I'm not sure as I can make fun of you, Aaron. Oh dear. Was the head of the model ever found? No. Never.
So the Bot Wars models...
We do have a lot of stuff.
Look, it was in his room as well, which makes, like, a teenage boy room. It just... No, it's gone. And I did consider trying to, like, press mold or something, one of the other models' heads to kind of make something. But because of the scale, they're not... I'm going to call them 15 mil, but even that doesn't feel right based on some of the other models. They're slightly, like, the basic Bot War characters are smaller than a standard Space Marine, not even a Primaris. But at the same time, some of the bigger ones, like the character, like the hero style models, are bigger. Mm-hmm. So this one was kind of the equivalent of a lieutenant. He wasn't one of the main characters, but he was a mid-tier character, so he was, like, his head was too small for me to use anything 40k, but too big for me to use anything epic. So it was easier just to get in touch with Anthony and say, hey, how do we resolve this? Thankfully, we were fortunate that, because they don't do a bit service, and they've moved away from metal models, and he had one in his bits box, that I sent some money for postage, and we got the bits, and all good to go.
So it's now been painted, and we are ready!
Danica, go to bed. If you're going to join the chat, we know you're awake, go to bed.
Love you, baby. Bedtime.
This is a mistake. You realise that now. Yeah, so we'll have Bot Wars very shortly, which should be really cool, because the models are... I don't know if the box is actually... No, you can see it just behind you there. The box is just there. The models aren't in that, but all the rules and the Energon cubes... the Energy cubes. TM. Yeah, we'll be out and playing that on the weekend. I was watching you do that going, oh god, that's a risk.
Right, I was gentle.
So, yeah, and then other than that, I'm actually found my Witch Elves for AOS with the new Daughters of Cain book out. And that's a game I want to explore at least on a smaller level to start with, because I mean we played a little bit of AOS with the kids because we had a couple of the starter boxes that we from yonks ago from first release, and it feels very similar to 40k in a large capacity. So I'm going to do up a Little Daughters of Cain army because they're models that I already own. You can see the box of them just over there. Under the pile of terrain boxes and everything else. So yeah, we're going to try that out. Get a little. I don't know what the size for. Like, I'm assuming there's something akin to a combat patrol where you can do like 500 points. Because I've got the General's Handbook up here as well, but I don't actually own the main rulebook. But I'm sort of holding off, assuming that we'll get the next release mid-year. So we'll see, I guess. If anyone has any other questions, though, sing out. Emma's exhausted. We're nearly 50 minutes in now, so we're going to call it if no one else has anything on. Next,
because it is roasting.
It is quite warm in here, and I can't turn the aircon on because the last time I had the aircon on in here with this particular microphone rig, you could hear it. So we're kind of hoping that we'll be able, once I've finished in here, hopefully tomorrow, I'll be able to set up a seat with our proper headsets and everything that we use for recording.
Okay, but right now, last minute questions, and then I'm done.
Give them another couple of minutes.
Yes, because there is a delay.
Yeah. And they have to type as well. Because they can't talk to us.
That's unfortunate. Quick, let's hang up now. Oh dear.
If anyone needs any more of the objective markers, the neoprene mats, I'm going to be putting up a post again, probably on the weekend, taking pre-orders for those, so that I can order the next batch to come through. With the time delays and everything, hopefully we'll have them for war calls for May. We'll also be able to take team orders, so if you have something custom you want on those objective markers.
What's the minimum though?
I did 10 for the dicks.
Yeah.
I think the minimum was 8, and then one of the guys wanted 2 sets, and then I said I wanted a set because I've actually got a set of them sat over there because I like having a copy of everything. I actually,
because I mean, why wouldn't you want a set of objective markers with a half-naked Shane on it?
Look, we've got new photos of Shane that we can turn into objective markers, but the team's kind of reluctant to because they've already got a very special set.
Yeah. How's the Titan going? I'm not sure if slowly or stopped is a better... I think stopped.
Well, to be fair, I got hold of a can of red spray from Paul Bennett at First Blood, which is going to be used on the armor panels, which when I started spraying the Titan, I've discovered they're discontinuing Lead Belcher, the metal spray, and he needs at least 2 more cans of it. So I'm going to have to see what I've got here, and then I know there's some left at Good Games in Cannington. A few of the specialty stores still have them, so I might have to go and buy a couple just to make sure I've got enough to get the undercoat down on him, because he's only a third undercoated. I was actually mucking about and cleaning him up. You can see the clean up on his head that I was doing a couple of days ago.
I don't know, it still looks pretty dusty. Yeah, I see that.
So, trying to get some of the... So I put the drill holes and pin, ready for magnets for the head. The head, this piece doesn't actually... If I break it on camera now, I'll be very upset. So that's alright, that's a good noise. Yeah, so it doesn't quite sit flush.
Okay, you have to do it there.
Okay.
It doesn't quite sit flush. Okay, so just there.
Yeah, so there's and I'm hoping that once the magnets go in, it'll lock it all in place. And part of me is even going, why don't I just glue the bloody thing shut? But all the crew go in it. But then the other...
But will they?
Well, and this is the thing. Once it's on here...
all the crew?
Yeah, there's 3. There's 3 crew that go in there.
You know, if you just glue it shut, you don't have to paint the crew.
I do.
Oh,
I don't want to squeeze that.
I'm not risking breaking that.
There you go. But by the time it's sat in the neck socket under the cowl, like, am I going to even be able to get that on and off nicely if I glue the head in place? I don't think so, so the head's going to have to stay separate. Aaron, hot take, Deathwing or Ravenwing? Why not both? Have you seen the El Paso ads?
Everyone's seen the El Paso ads.
Why not both? I think that the Deathwing list is going to be more forgiving for a new player, but it's actually going to win you less games in the long run because you want the mobility of the Ravenwing in the late game where you've got fast OBSEC units. I think the Deathwing getting OBSEC isn't as big a deal as the Ravenwing, but I also think the Ravenwing, you're not going to have the model count to utilise OBSEC until late game. Ravenwing are much cooler.
Yeah, I was trying to work out who that, but I've no idea who a Canadian monkey is.
Cadian.
Oh.
Cadia's destroyed though, so it doesn't matter.
It's just a monkey, really should not do this without my glasses on, and yeah, just giving in.
So yeah, I do think that a combo Deathwing Ravenwing army could work. The trick is going to be what percentage balance you work with there, because going too far one way or the other is going to make the list ultimately unbalanced, or at that point you're better off going pure, but you can't afford to go 50-50 either, because then you're just kind of not doing anything. 70-30 maybe, I'm just not sure which way that's going to sit. I don't know any Ravenwing, only any Deathwing. Terminators.
So that's why not both.
We didn't say that. You said that.
Yes, I did.
Totally didn't buy any. It's fine. Copying Auspex Tactics 30 Deathwing Termies in a list. Look, I think I've probably got that in the box down here. Because I found them today. I picked up it's the original Death Bowl, Blood Bowl supplement box. I went, I wonder what's in this. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Oh, it's plastic models in here. Oh, it's all Deathwing Terminators. But these are Deathwing Terminators before the kit existed. So these are plastic Terminators with resin Forge World conversion parts added to them, which have been out of production for
a long
time. So yeah.
It's well established that you're old.
Well, you are then as well.
I'm not.
No?
I'm much younger than you.
What's your birthday this year?
Much younger than yours.
Alright, I think we're done then.
Yes, we are.
We are going to catch you all later. Podcast next week. And then...
If anyone has any suggestions, please shoot me a message. Not Mike. Shoot me a message of what we should cover in the podcast next week.
I think I've got a couple of emails from people making suggestions. Charles, one of our patrons, sent me a message suggesting some stuff.
Can you remember what?
No, but I remember something else. Maybe it was one of his. He suggested looking at, and this was actually something that was given to me by another TO for us to talk about, was why use a differential scoring system compared to the standard scoring system in 40k. Pros and cons, why not, that sort of thing. For the record, I'm still on the why, as in not.
Yeah.
But it's something we can look at.
I'm not sure it's something that we can stretch to a whole episode.
How many times have we said that and ended up with a 3-hour episode?
Well, that's because you jabber on about rubbish.
Me? We're done.
Yes, we are.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Good night.